Hello viewers and welcome to the latest episode of The Huddle. Tim Poole here, editor of Gambling Insider, and I'm speaking with Luka Markota, director of operations at IGP. We're going to be discussing the past and the history of platform, as well as looking into the future and how the industry is changing in this pretty exciting technological way. Luka, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to you about a bunch of technical topics, platform, that kind of thing. But we talk a lot of business on The Huddle. It's nice to maybe start with something a little bit outside of the day job. You're a Dinamo Zagreb fan, and you own a vineyard. Can you tell us all about that?
Yeah. I've been a Dinamo Zagreb fan all my life, which is sometimes great, sometimes not so great, but whoever follows football knows how that feels. Currently, we're doing good in the Champions League, not so great in the domestic league, but hopefully that's going to pick up. I'm still quite convinced we're going to win the title and then be in the Champions League again next year. Yeah, and when it comes on the other thing you mentioned, the vineyard, yeah, I do officially own a vineyard. I haven't done really anything in the vineyard as of yet because it's kind of a weird story. It was kind of an impulsive buy, uh, however that sounds. So yeah, hopefully in the next years we'll see some bottles of wine that come out of that vineyard, and I'll make sure I'll send you one for mentioning that and kind of putting the pressure on me to do it in the next couple of years. So yeah.
I look forward to that. I look forward to that. And when it comes to the football, yeah, well, I think every football fan knows this feeling. I'm a Liverpool fan, so right now things are good. But if you speak to me in a few weeks and we've lost that lead that we had at the top of the table, yeah, I'll know exactly how the other side feels, which I've felt before.
Then before we continue, I need to show you one thing. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's a signed boot by Stevie G.
Oh,
So I'm
incredible.
also a Liverpool fan. Yeah. So next to Dinamo
Yeah.
Zagreb, that's my favorite.
Brilliant. Well, no, that's and we didn't plan that, by the way. I didn't know that. You didn't know that about each other. So that's no, that's really good. Good to hear. Yeah. Weirdly, I've interviewed both left backs from that game. So Risa and Serginho. For some
Ooh, now
reason,
I'm jealous.
but no, Stevie G's boot. I mean, that is the boot. They change everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, okay, so I do want to talk about Champions League for the rest of the interview, but we want to talk about platforms. And
Yeah.
the kind of concept we want to go through as well is kind of the history of platform, because obviously, it changes over time. It's a very dynamic industry. If we're to kind of go back to, early in the history, shall we say, can you talk us through some kind of key early movers and adopters of,
Yeah,
platform technology?
I did some research on that preparing for this, and I read a statistic that by in the year 1998 there were like 200 casinos online, and then by 2000 2002, I believe, there were over 1,000 of them. So you can
Hmm.
see how it grew exponentially in a
Yeah.
very short period of time. I mean, yeah, it started way back in the day. We've come a long way from then, but then some things didn't really change that much. Um, I mean, obviously back then it was quite different. I mean, the tech was quite different than what we have today. So much less advanced, let's say, but they still managed to make it work. I mean, from the like the early platforms that I think we should definitely mention is microgaming,
Hmm.
who did the first online casino. So definitely they kind of cleared the way for all of us that we're all still kind of dancing in the same field that they've kind of started. And then I think it's worth mentioning Playtech as well. They're still big on the market and they've done some amazing things that kind of showed all of us the way forward. So yeah, I guess worth mentioning is that yeah, the market was much less competitive back then than it is right now. But I kind of think that similar struggles that they had back then is what we're having now with all the new tech and new regulatory requirements and new client requests and new ways of doing business online.
Interesting, very interesting. I remember we did a magazine feature on kind of celebrating 30 years in iGaming of iGaming a few months ago, and yeah, microgaming obviously came up a lot, and as you say, Playtech and still around today, but obviously kind of really as you say, early movers setting the precedent. And you obviously had that kind of dot-com bubble in a lot of industries, but certainly for iGaming as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget. I mean, ice in London, and then the big boat in front of the main entrance with the micro gaming logo on it. I
Yeah.
think that's something that everybody who's been in the iGaming business for the past 15 or 20 years is going to remember. So yeah, definitely something that's worth mentioning when we discuss the history of the platforms in the online business.
Yeah, and you mentioned that some challenges, some struggles will still be the same today. Certain aspects might be similar, but in terms of how the tech has advanced, because you mentioned obviously over the years it's inevitable that it would have moved forward. If we're kind of marking out on a timeline, where are there any kind of significant moments in terms of tech advancement and innovation that you could mark out historically?
Well, I think the first thing that's worth mentioning is way back in the early 2000s, there was the downloadable casino software, which kind of brought the game to the new level. So users have a better experience, like a larger variety of games, some multiplayer functionality. So it kind of started with that. And then obviously, I think around 2007, 2008, when the iPhone hit, then the mobile gaming exploded, and everybody was kind of focusing on that. And I think that's the biggest game changer uh, on the platform timeline, let's say, because with the mobile being available to so many people, and to be able to play at any moment, at any place, is what brought the game to a completely new level. So that's something that's definitely worth mentioning. And then obviously with the expansion of different platform providers, with the competition growing, and obviously with the tech that was advancing, then came a lot of improvements in the UX and the UI, which nobody was really that concerned about in the beginning. And then for me, the biggest change in the last 10 years, or the biggest advancement, is in the personalization part, which every platform nowadays is doing, when it comes to the content for the game content, which is being suggested to the players. Some super cool features such as I don't know, swipe deposit or one-click deposit, things like that, that kind of came in and completely changed the game again. So I would say that those like 3 or 4 points are the most important thing when we speak about the platform and how they grew over the years.
Certainly, yeah. So I'm going to ask you about kind of IGP and your role in the ecosystem in a second, but given this sort of this brief history that we've walked through, where would you say we are now, if you were to summarize, compared to all that time ago, and compared to the potential of where we could still go in terms of innovation and that kind of thing?
I think now that we're like in a very exciting time, because the way that tech worked up until a couple of years ago is now again changing with AI becoming present in every walk of life, and particularly in the tech industry, and particularly in the gaming industry. So where is that going to take us? It can go in so many ways now that I don't even know exactly what's going to happen over the next couple of years. But we're definitely now in that period where we all kind of need to listen into what's going on the tech side, what's going on the user side, because everything is changing so fast. The users nowadays are using the internet in general, and what are their habits, and how long do they stay on certain parts of the website. So that's kind of all changing now. So that's where we all need to adapt. And as you can see, it exploded everywhere. Like we all thought that, oh, the social media platforms are now going to look like Facebook and Instagram, and then TikTok came, and now everything changed again, and everybody adapted. So I kind of feel that we're also heading in that direction. So what's going to happen next is still to be figured out, I would say. But AI is definitely going to have a huge impact on that, and then potentially VR, if that ever comes back. for a short period of time, that was a big hit, and we need to see our players going to be able to adapt to that. And then obviously the habits of the players are constantly changing, so we need to be very careful and kind of listen to them to be able to model everything that we do so it's most suitable for them.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think the social media example is a strong one as well, because even just in wider society, you had YouTube, you had Facebook, then suddenly Instagram, and as you say, TikTok changed it even further. So yeah, anything could be around the corner, and even it's not a huge change. It's just a slight tweak, slight change in a similar product.
Yeah, and everybody adapts so fast to that. So it's like from today till tomorrow, everything changed, and now we all have to adapt to that. Even
Yeah.
though a year ago, no, or a couple of years back, nobody thought that this would be possible, or nobody could figure out what's going to happen next.
And on that note, as I say, I want to ask about IGP and its platform, its technology, and how you're aiming to kind of stand out. Because I know a message that's been consistent from you guys is actually the delivery. Delivering something is a huge, a different challenge to perhaps talking about delivering it.
I mean, when we entered the market, which was almost 10 years ago now, which also sounds like a long time ago, we obviously worked on other platforms before, so we kind of knew how it looked, how it worked, and we were just trying to fill all the gaps for our clients and for our new potential customers. And that's what we're still basically doing day in, day out. We're trying to bridge that gap as much as we possibly can. We're trying to give them more insights, more control, so less input from our side and more control and more input from their side, which is ideally a place where we all want to be, right? We want to be able to hand our product into the hands of our customer and that they can be completely free. And we're just there to support them and take them where they need to go. But we want to give obviously that control. And that's kind of the main focus that we've had over the last couple of years, but also for the next couple of years, that's going to be the model as well. We can be very flexible. We can optimize a lot of things on the product side, both on the platform side and on the aggregator side. So that's kind of where we want to be. Our scalability is one of the most important things that we want to offer to our clients. So wherever they want to go, we're going to go with them as a partner, and they're going to have our full support.
I want to throw in another subject on the topic of kind of the wider industry and the platform and the history of casino and that kind of thing. Casino content aggregation. What kind of impact would you say that's had on the industry? Because especially in the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of casino content aggregated, and I'm not sure if it's a debate as such, but there's a traditional model and the aggregator model, and there's kind of pros and cons of both as well.
Well, I think that we don't speak enough about the content aggregation. I think that's one of the biggest jump-off points that this industry has had, right? Because if we talk about how it was 20 years ago, you had, what, 5, 6, 7, 8 game providers. So it was much easier to just do the integration directly and get the content directly from the content provider. But with this expansion that our industry has had over the last 15 or 20 years, there's now a gazillion game providers, right? And they're all doing something right. So it's not just focusing on the 5 or 6 of them. It's now probably over 100 or 150 game providers that our customers and obviously the players would want to have access to. So that's why I believe the content aggregation is one of the most important things that happen in our industry. And there are many, many benefits. I mean, the diverse game portfolio, which offers everything through a single API connection, right? So whatever the client and their players want, you can get it instantly. So that's a huge plus. The cost of all of that is also a huge benefit for the operators. It's very simple to integrate. So something that used to take months now takes hours or days or weeks, depending on the complexity of the project. Obviously, the cost and time efficiency is something that we definitely need to discuss. Definitely need to mention when we speak about the aggregation. Then the compliance and the licensing support that our customers get from us, who also have an aggregator. So that's also a huge benefit for them, where they don't need to go through the ins and the outs of each license. They don't need to go through the a gazillion pages of paperwork. So that's a huge benefit for both sides. And then just the continuous content updates that we provide. So whenever anything new is launched, either a provider or a certain game, they get it instantly. So it's all happening seamlessly for them, even though a lot of work and effort is done in the background.
So based on that, I'm not going to ask if you think a content aggregation is going to increase, because I think the answer is obviously a yes. But do you see it growing even, really quickly in the next couple of years, and kind of the adoption of it increasing more rapidly based on kind of all those advantages that you've discussed there?
I honestly believe that, yeah, it's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to grow, and I don't see really the end to that. As long as we keep providing the newest content, the best content that there is on the market, there's always going to be customers that are highly interested in the services that the aggregators are providing.
And based on that, but also I want to bear in mind what you said earlier, in that with AI, we're not sure which direction things could go. Kind of, something new could come up that we can't pinpoint right now. But if we're to look into the future and try and do some projections as much as we can without a crystal ball, let's say if we're looking in 10, 20 years, how much different could this industry and kind of platforms be? Or will we always have kind of a fundamental, certain things won't change?
Well, I think certain things won't change, but I think the main thing that's going to happen over the next, let's say, 10 years is the personalization of everything for every single individual player. I think that's going to be the biggest part. And I think AI is going to help us do that much quicker than what we thought that it would be possible. So that every player gets everything completely customized for them. So they won't even see the content that they're not interested, and whatever they're interested in, they're going to see a lot of that. And I think that's going to be the best way possible, because everything else is going into that direction as well, right? The ads are completely personalized. Your online shopping is completely personalized. You're getting exactly what you want. You're getting exactly what you're used to, and you're getting suggestions based on your habits online. So I think that's going to be a massive thing in our industry as well, where we can really deliver and not bore you with 15,000 games, but we're only going to show you something that we know you're interested in. I think Netflix did the biggest step into that direction with what they did on their platform, and I think everybody else is also following that already, and the iGaming industry is also on that path.
This could be. Let me know if it's too specific an example. And obviously, we talk about casino a lot, but let's say on the sports side, as a Liverpool fan, within the next 10 years, do you think we could get to a stage where I log in to an app, doesn't matter which app, but I will immediately get kind of the next 3 fixtures for Liverpool, suggestions on Liverpool players and Liverpool markets, and the rest of it will kind of be behind? I know that's a specific sports betting software question, but do you think, in terms of broadly
Oh yeah,
personalization?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I will. Yeah, absolutely. All parts of that are already possible now, and I think it's just going to expand. I think that I mean, with football in specific, with it growing within the USA market, which is a huge market, and if we look at every other sport that they follow, such as football or baseball or hockey, it's all very data driven, which wasn't really the case with football. So I think that that's also one direction that we're going to go into in the next couple of years, is that you're going to log in, you're going to see the fixtures from your favorite club. You're going to see all the details about all the players, on how they performed in the previous games, and how are they perform how are they kind of how do we think they're going to perform in the next games. So I think it's all going to be much more data driven and personalized.
Yeah, really interesting stuff overall. Really enjoyed the discussion on the history, and looking forward as well. To end, a little bit less kind of whole industry, but IGP yourselves and your plans for 2025, given kind of all the things we're talking about, what are you looking to achieve? What are your aims for next year?
Well, our main goals for next year is just keep on improving our products, which means both the platform and the aggregator, with adding more features and more content and implementing all the exciting new technologies that are currently available on the market that we are all kind of scanning and figuring out how it works. What I want to mention is the omni-channel part of our product that we're preparing, and we're gonna showcase a part of that in ICE in Barcelona as well. We have some new markets on the horizon with the new clients that we're getting, so we're going to expand to new markets as well. And then, like I said, just keep doing what we're doing, keep listening to our clients, keep following them where they want to go, and not really focusing on the competition, but more focusing on what we feel is right and what our clients need, rather than focusing on what everybody else is doing.
Sure. Well, Luka, thanks very much for your time. Best
Thank
of
you so
luck
much.
to IGP, and best of luck to Dinamo Zagreb as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And
And
best of luck to Liverpool as well.
yeah, no, thank you very much, and likewise. And I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a
And
pleasure.
to our viewers, as always, thanks for watching as well.